Just because everyone is doing it, that doesn't make it right. And just because no one is doing it, that doesn't make it wrong. Today's video is going to be a very important video for you because this one principle that I'm going to talk to you about has changed everything, and I actually mean it, and it's going to change it for you too if you understand it. And I'm going to say it again. Just because everyone is doing it, that doesn't make it right. And just because no one is doing it, that doesn't make it wrong. Simple thing about this video, and I'm going to take you through a timeline of when I was from my childhood to my adulthood. And the reason for this is very important for you to listen to, because you're going to see in this timeline on how things have been so different for me, which has led me to do things that the world is catching up to now, 20, 30, 40 years later. Now, the thing is, people tend to follow a herd. People tend to follow what the majority of the population is doing or what the majority of the population is saying. This is just like that activity that you did in class when you sat in class and the teacher asked you a question and you looked around. And why do you look around? You looked around because you wanted to see what other people are saying. And if one person has put up their hand, the next person puts up their hand, and everybody puts up their hand. They're all following the same rule, following the herd, following what everyone has to say, because you want to fit, in, and you feel like if you don't fit in, you won't fit into society, you won't fit into social norms. And this is a thing the majority of the people do, and it's quite common ever since I was a child in the 1880s. Now, let's talk about from childhood. So when I was in grade 5, I'm going to show you pictures here up front. When I was in grade 5, I used to do something called fasting. Fasting is in the month of Ramadan. Now it's very popular, but in 1997, when I was in grade 5, when I used to fast, my teachers used to complain, and they used to call my parents at home and say, "Why isn't she eating?" Now, the thing is, at that time, Islam has been around for a very long time, and fasting has been around for a very long time. And this is not just for the Muslims, also for the Christians. If you look at your Old Testament in the Bible, you have 40 days of fasting during Easter time. So fasting has been very normalized. In 1997, when I was in grade 5 and I used to fast, my teachers used to complain that she is not eating all day. And this went on for a very long time. Now, they used to see I'm not drinking water, I'm not eating, so what is going on? And every day my parents used to try to explain to my teachers that this is called fasting. It's the month of Ramadan. You eat before you wake up, before sunrise, and you eat after sunset. This is very normal for Muslims, but they never used to understand this thing. And fasting has been, since I said fasting has been around for a very long time, now people are starting to learn that fasting not only has positive effects on the body, not only decreases inflammation in the body, but it also has positive effects on the brain. When your body starts to go into autophagy, which is eating its own damaged cells, eating its own cancer cells, eating its own bacteria, now people are beginning to understand, including yourself. If you haven't known about this for a very long time, now you know about this. Now, fast forward to grade 6 in 1998. This was a time when I used to do henna, right? On Eid, during Eid, after the fasting month, I used to put henna on my hands. And my teachers used to think that I have dirty hands, I have some bacteria on my hands, and they would tell me to continuously go and wash my hands. And I used to feel embarrassed in front of the whole class because I was not a very big speaker that time. I was always an introvert, not an extrovert. And being an introvert, I was always shy in front of all these other students. And because these other students were very extroverted, they used to be talkative and they used to speak fluent English. English at that time was not fluent for me. So I used to listen to my teachers and go and wash my hands. And then when my henna never used to come off, they used to tell me to go and wash my hands again. And they used to say it in front of the entire class and embarrass me. Now henna has become so popular these days that even people who are those who do not belong to this culture, they're even using henna as tattoos. They're putting it on their bellies, they're putting it on their back, they're putting it on their arms, they're putting it everywhere. But at that time, it was not the norm. And just because I was doing it, that doesn't make me wrong. And just because nobody else was doing it, that doesn't make them right. This is a very important principle for you to understand, and I'm going to constantly repeat it throughout this video. Because the majority of my class was not doing it, the females in my class were not doing it, that does not make them right. And just because I was doing it, that does not make me wrong. Now, for lunchtime, I used to take ground chicken sandwiches to school to eat. And when I used to take ground chicken sandwiches to school to eat, everybody used to think that I am disgusting. People used to make fun of me. People used to laugh at me. The students in my class used to laugh at me, and they used to say it smells really bad. Now, because of that, I never used to eat lunch. I used to throw my lunch in school before I came home, because every time I would bring home my lunch that I did not eat, I would always get yelled at, why didn't you eat it? Now, how am I going to explain to my parents that we get made fun of in school? That's why we don't eat it. But now ground chicken and ground beef have become so popular and so normalized that athletes take and eat ground chicken and ground beef almost on a daily basis. People are using it in their tacos. People are meal prepping with it. But just because I was eating at that time in 1998, that does not make me wrong. And just because everybody else didn't understand it at that time, that does not make them right. Right? So understand this principle. Now, fast forward in 1999. My mom always has been a beautician for a very long time. From when I remember, I was 5 years old, and I used to help her. Brides used to come to our house to get ready, and she used to do their makeup and skincare, waxing, threading, all of that. So that was very normal for us. And when she used to do their makeup, before their makeup, she used to take one ice cube and she used to apply it on their face. So we have been doing that for a very long time. Now, in 1999, when we used to do this and people used to ask us, what do you use on your face? It glows so much. And then we used to say we ice our face. Now, at that time, no one was icing their face. No one knew about icing the face. Because my mom was a professional beautician, she was a professional cosmetologist, she knew about these tricks that she used on her brides to make their makeup more permanent. Because at that time, there was not enough variety or lots of variety to make their makeup permanent. So she used to do this to make their makeup permanent. Now, just because we were icing our face, that does not make us wrong. And just because nobody else in the world knew, that does not make them right. And now, if you look, people are dipping their faces in ice water. They wake up in the morning, they put a bowl of ice water, and they dip their face in that. Now they're doing it how many years later? 25 years later, they're doing it. And we started in 1999. People are doing that right now. So we were always ahead of everyone else in this world. Now, the next thing was, every time my mom used to put foundation on these brides, she would always wet her little sponge. Now, her sponge was not the beauty blender that you see now. It was one of those wedge sponges. If you are from those times, you know what I'm talking about. Those wedge sponges, she used to put them underwater. She used to put them underwater. She used to wring it out. And then she used to use foundation with that. Now, she knew tricks that people are starting to find out about it now. And we always used to do that. And I always used to tell my mom, this is not the right way of doing it. But she always told me, this is the long-lasting way of keeping your foundation on. And she was always right, because her foundation always stayed on while I was in high school, and my foundation used to come off around the mouth area and the nose area. Now, fast forward to people are starting to use the beauty blender, and people are starting to wet their sponges to put their foundation on. And just because at that time no one was doing it, that does not make them right. And just because my mom was doing it, that does not make her wrong. Now, in the year 2001, when I was in high school, I always used to take milk, put lemon in it, heat it in the microwave, and then used to separate. The water used to separate, the curds used to separate. Now, I did not know at that time when it separates what happens, but I did know that it is a good skincare strategy. And at that time, there was not a lot of vast skincare varieties. There was not a lot of different kinds of acids on the market. In fact, nobody even knew about acids on the market. But what I was doing is that I was actually putting lactic acid on my face. And I used to do that every single night. I used to take lemon, put it in milk, put it in the microwave. It used to separate. I used to separate the water, and I would take the curds, put the curds all around my face, keep it on for 30 minutes, and then wash it off. And I would do this consistently to keep my skin smooth and healthy looking. I will be putting pictures up here on the screen somewhere. So when you are watching this video, make sure you are physically sitting down and watching it instead of working or doing the dishes or cooking. Because if you are watching my videos while you're doing other things, you're not going to be able to actually see the receipts that I will be providing in my videos that I have provided in the past, that I will be providing in the future, and that I am providing right now. Now, I used to do this specific thing all throughout high school, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that has what kept my skin extremely smooth, acne-free, blemish-free. Next thing, the Pakistani and specifically Indians, we come from a tribe where we always oil our hair. Okay? Now, when we oil our hair at that time, I'm talking about the year 2000, when we used to oil our hair, people would find us disgusting. So let's say I oiled my hair, and then we had to go out for grocery shopping. So I never used to wash my hair before going out because it was only like 15-20 minutes that I had applied it. So when we used to go out, people used to call us disgusting. People used to say we smell bad. The oil smells bad. What's in your hair? Wash it out. Your hair is dirty. Now, just because we were doing this in the year 1995 up until now, that does not make us wrong, because now the whole world knows about oiling. The whole world is oiling their hair. The whole world is massaging their hair with lots of different kinds of oils. But that is fast forward 20, 30 years. We were doing it ahead of time. So that does not make us wrong. And just because nobody else was doing it, that does not make them right. Then in high school, the year 2002 from 2001 from 2004. Every time I would go to school, every time I would go to high school, I don't eat breakfast. Okay, so I would eat my first meal after coming home at 4 p.m. Every time I did that, my teachers used to ask me, "What did you have for breakfast?" And I always used to tell them tea, just only tea. And they used to always lecture me on how breakfast is so important. It's the most important meal of the day. And lunch is the most important meal. You should have it if you want to have energy and if you want to have a good brain. But here is what is so important. And here is what is so surprising, that even though I never used to eat breakfast and even though I never ate lunch, I was always acing in classes. I was always getting above 80% in all my subjects. And 20, 30 years later, people are starting to realize what intermittent fasting is, and they have their meal and they have their first meal after 12 p.m. But we were doing that back in the year 2001. So just because me and my sister were not eating breakfast and lunch and we were having our first meal at 4 p.m., that does not make us wrong. And just because nobody else understood that fasting and having an empty stomach is actually more better and beneficial for brain efficiency and knowledge delivery and memory retention, that does not make them, people did not understand that. So that does not make them right. Just because at that time somebody had decided that they were going to make something called breakfast that you should have at 6 or 7 in the morning, that does not make them right. So it is very important for you to understand this principle. And the reason I am trying to explain this to you is because once again, I'm in that same situation that I don't want you to be in. Okay? This is very important for you to understand. These timelines I have explained to you because this one principle, if you understand it, you will start using your brain. People do not use their brain because people want to follow what the entire population is following. Now, what is that situation that I am currently in? That same situation is peptides. A lot of people you will see on social media talk about peptides. They talk about injecting peptides. I do not talk about injecting peptides. I have created this one formula, this hair essence that you'll see behind me and on the screen. This one formula has 11 targeted peptides, only peptides. 11 targeted peptides, no fillers, no alcohol, no minoxidil, no finasteride, no spironolactone, no biotin, no caffeine. Okay, 11 targeted peptides that are made for hair growth that took me 5 years of research and clinical trials to create, to help give hair growth and permanent results of hair growth without being product dependent. Why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because I am 20 or 30 years ahead of the game. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to discover this 20 or 30 years later when I am explaining this to you right now. I am telling you that this product gives permanent results. I will show you my results here on the screen right now. You can see how I have androgenetic alopecia. I had telogen effluvium. I was having massive loss of hair during my divorce. And I used this one formula only, nothing orally, nothing internally, just this one formula to activate my hair growth gene and help regrow hair. Now, the thing is, do I use this product on the daily basis? No, because this product was created with the specific thing in mind that you have a life and there is shit going on in your life. And sometimes things will happen and your hair is not going to be priority. Sometimes you're going to have a death in the family. You're going to have a stress in the family. You're going to go through a divorce. You're going to go through a breakup and your hair is not going to be that important at that time. So does that mean you deserve to lose hair because you used minoxidil? And now because you're using minoxidil and suddenly you cannot use minoxidil for 2 to 3 weeks because of that certain stress in your life or that certain trauma in your life, and you're going to start to lose hair. Do you think you deserve that? Because I don't. I think you deserve full, luscious hair, male or female, it doesn't matter, regardless of your health condition, regardless of your autoimmune disease, and not using the product for life. This specific product, you're not going to be product dependent on it. And the reason this is very important for you to understand, and hear me out until the end of this video, I have worked in pharmaceutical for 15 years. I have dispensed medication for 15 years of my life. And let me tell you one thing. If you are smart enough to understand this, and I am 100% sure you are, doctors and the pharmaceutical industry want you to remain sick. And this is why I left the industry and changed my career completely. I got a different degree. Because if you don't stay sick, if you don't stay product dependent, how are they going to make their money? If you don't have any health issues, if you don't have any scalp issues, if you don't have any immune issues, if you don't have any stomach issues, if you don't have depression, anxiety, how are they going to make their money? This is why this food industry wants you to keep eating the bad foods. They want you to keep having high blood pressure. They want you to keep having inflammation. They want you to be in this specific cycle of constant doctors. You go to the doctor, they bill your health card. Then the doctor gives you a prescription. That prescription goes to the pharmacy. The pharmacy bills you for the amount of medication and their dispensing fee. Pharmacies have to charge a dispensing fee. Sometimes it's $8.99, sometimes it's $11.99. Some pharmacies in Canada. I don't know about your country. And then when they bill those, they bill it to your insurance plan. You are paying for that insurance plan if you are working full time. Every paycheck you will see an amount goes to your insurance plan, an amount cuts from taxes. There's all of these cuts are happening. It's not like that medication is free. Okay? Your insurance is paying for it. You're paying for that insurance. Let's say, for example, you're paying for that insurance and you say, well, I'm anyways paying for it, so might as well get the medication. Yeah, but if you take that medication, you're going to be dependent on that medication. You're going to take that medication for a lifetime. Now, let's say, suppose, because things happen, shit happens, let's say you lose your job. And let's say 6 months or 2 years go by and you cannot find a job, like the majority of the population currently in 2026 is facing. And because you lost your job, your insurance plan is cancelled. Now, how are you going to take your medication? You're going to pay out of pocket, right? You're going to be paying when you don't have a salary for 1 or 2 years. You're going to be paying, even though you could have saved that amount of money. You could have saved $100 or $200 every month that's going in your medication if you used the right methods, if you listened to people who actually been through this and who have actually solved problems like I have. I have reversed my autoimmune disease, hypothyroidism, without Western medication, without Synthroid, without Cytomel, without anything, just naturally. And I do not have to be on any medication. Currently, I am drug free. So this is very, very essential for you to understand. And I did not do it through food, because food right now is very low nutritional value. You will not get all your nutrients and minerals regardless of how good of a diet you have. And I made a documentary on that. I will link it up in the cards up above. You can see that documentary and you can see I reacted to it and how nutritional value has gone down and how it will continue to keep going down. So I did not do it through nutrition. Now, these peptides that I'm specifically talking about that gives you permanent results, even if you don't use them every single day, you just use it up until you have reached your target density, you reached your target hair growth. And then if you stop using it, your hair will not fall out again. And you can use it 1 to 3 times a week just for maintenance. This one specific thing I'm getting a patent on. The patent is under process right now. And this specific thing, people are going to catch up to 20 or 30 years later. I'm telling you today. Okay, when you watch this video, comment on this video peptides. When you comment on this video peptides, 30 or 20 or 30 years from now, you will come back to this video and you will realize that I was speaking the truth. I do not gatekeep here. I do not lie here. Everything I speak about is with proof, is with receipts. So if you understand this and you are on your hair growth journey and you are facing massive amounts of hair loss and you are experiencing androgenetic alopecia, male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness, telogen effluvium, and you have been stuck in that phase and you are unable to grow out hair, then do consider visiting this website on the screen below and use this product consistently. Right now in the beginning, consistently every single day, morning and evening, and then use this hair oil with 23 specific herbs that will help penetrate the hair bulb and the hair dermapapilia, because oil molecules are too big to penetrate deep into the scalp. If you use any type of oil on the market, amla, Vatica, the Vatica series, olive oil, avocado oil, sesame oil, these specific oils will not penetrate in your scalp, and therefore you will not get the results that you expect to see. And you are constantly tired. You feel like you have tried everything on the market and you no longer want to try any product. I 100% understand that. I get that. Because that's a lot of money wasted. That's a lot of resources wasted. But also understand this one thing. Something that you heard 20 years ago, the information you heard 20 years ago, that there is no cure to androgenetic alopecia or telogen effluvium or male pattern baldness. It has been 20 years fast forward. Science has evolved. Research has evolved. More and more people are coming out like myself and researching specific ingredients to help provide you permanent solutions for a temporary problem. These are a permanent solution to your hair balding, which is a temporary problem. You do not have to live with your hair balding. You do not have to live with baldness. You do not have to live embarrassed. You do not have to worry about going out into the sun and other people being able to see your bald scalp. Things have changed and more honest people are coming out to the surface and providing you permanent results for different problems that people could not have solved 20 years ago. But they're going to be solved now and 20 years fast forward. So just at least consider it, take it into consideration, watch this video, sit down and think about this principle that just because everyone is doing it, that doesn't make it right. And just because nobody is doing it, that doesn't make it wrong. The whole world is using minoxidil and finasteride, But I'm telling you, those are not permanent results. Those things only cause blood circulation to the scalp, giving you a temporary fix. When you stop using that, your hair and more will fall out again. So how is that working? Did you ask this question to yourself? Are you asking yourself, if you're taking something and it is not working for you, why isn't it working? Why do you have to take it for a very long time? This is the same question I asked my doctor for my mother. If she is taking pantoprazole, which is a GERD medication, and it is not working, should you not be asking questions of why isn't this medication working? What is the actual issue? And honestly speaking, when I dug out her reports and I went back to her old doctors and I dug out the reports of her colonoscopy and endoscopy, we found out that she does not even have acid reflux. So I went to her doctor and I asked, if she doesn't have acid reflux, why are you prescribing her the entire line of acid reflux medications? Why are you giving her pantoprazole? Why are you giving her Tecta? Why are you giving her Nexium? Why are you giving these medications? And the simple answer is they could not answer it. It's because they want to keep her on that medication so the pharmacy could keep billing that prescription to her. If you watch my videos carefully and thoughtfully and keep an open mind and stay neutral while watching these videos, you will know that what I am speaking about is actually the truth. And I am giving you the raw facts the way they are. So just because everyone is doing it, that doesn't make it right. And just because nobody is doing it, that does not make it wrong. You could be the first person in your family, in your friend circle, to be using these specific products and regrowing a full head of hair. And everybody's going to be constantly asking you, what is your secret? Understand this principle. And this specific principle has changed my life forever. Now I don't follow the world. I don't follow the herd. I don't follow the population. I use my brain and I research and I do the work. And when I do the work and when I become successful about it, then I come here and share it with you for free. And all I ask in return is a positive comment, something that you're going to start today, that you're going to take care of your health, that you're going to start your journey today, and just a simple subscribe or like or share, because these things are free and I'm providing you valuable information that I have worked on for decades. I'll see you in the comments down below. Comment peptides and come back to this video when you've seen the world is taking over on these specific types of peptides that I am talking about today.